evening, and welcome to the GRA Rock-A-RAMA Lunar New Year special. I'm your host, Jamie Barr.
And I'm your co-host, Mad Whitaker.
Thanks for tuning in and spending your evening with us on this very metal Lunar New Year night.
We have a wonderful show in store for you today with musical performances by SINE and Stretch Panic.
Plus, a thrilling performance by the Texas Dragon Lion Dance Team, filmed by Mad and myself, specially for the GRA Rock-A-RAMA Lunar New Year special.
It was totally magical, y'all. Very true.
Totally. You know, February is such a festive, funny little month filled with holidays such as the first one, February 2nd, featuring our frivolous annual forecast by that fat and furry Punxsutawney Phil, who did indeed see his shadow on Groundhog's Day. That's right, Woodchuck Chuckers. 6 more weeks of winter, and we're barely 2 weeks in, and oh baby, it's cold outside.
Hey, I saw something shiny. Yesterday was National Guitar Day.
It was also International Day of Women and Girls in Science.
What? Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was also Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk Day. I can kind of see why they're related. Womp womp.
Hey, Jamie, do you know what tomorrow is?
Why, yes, Matt, I do know what tomorrow is. It's Galentine's Day and Palentine's Day, a day to celebrate the fabulous femmes in our lives and the platonic friends we love platonically. Do you know what today is?
Ding, 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 ding. I do, and it's National Freedom to Marry Day. It's a day where we celebrate the fight for love and equal rights for marriage for the LGBTQ plus community.
That's right. And speaking of promoting equal rights, it's also Black History Month, a whole month designated for us to recognize the struggles and celebrate the triumphs of the Black community throughout the history of the United States, while still recognizing how far we really have to go towards creating a more just, equitable, and inclusive society for everyone.
Did I hear someone say inclusive?
Hey, Nathalie!
Hey, y'all. Happy Lunar New Year.
Everyone, please welcome GRA board member, founder and CEO of On Vinyl Media, who is also named one of the Austin Chronicles 20 of 2020, and tonight's special guest co-host, Nathalie Phan.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. Thanks, y'all.
And we're so happy to have you here to lead the Rock-A-RAMA panel discussion on tonight's topic of otherness and inclusion. Would you care to share and explain more about that topic?
Of course. Our first segment will feature a panel discussion lined with special guests Rona Rougeheart, MJ Haha, Casie Luong, and Melinda Chow, where we'll be sharing our experiences and insights on what it's like to be Asian American in Austin, growing up between two worlds and finding our places somewhere between the Eastern heritage and languages we grew up with at home and the Western culture we've been inundated with through school and the media.
That really sounds like an enlightening and illuminating conversation. I'm sure some of those topics may bring up a lot of personal moments that may be uncommon or kind of uncomfortable to share. So thank you, Nathalie, for sharing your discussion with us and our at-home viewers. But before we get that convo going, we have a few updates and announcements about GRA's upcoming programs from that lovable grump, Klutzy.
I love playing music with my friends.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, Matt. Hi, Nathalie. I didn't see you there. Hi, friends at home. Oh, I was just practicing because I just signed up for the new GRA after school program. Yeah, registration just opened. The GRA after school sessions are for ages 8 through 17 and will include weekly live instrument instructions, collaborative workshops on Thursdays, and a live stream song showcase at the end of the session. As always, GRA will still provide musical instruments and necessary gear to any Austin area camper that needs them. Yeah, you can have your own piano or a guitar, or a drum kit, whatever you need to rock and roll. So check this out. This program is every Thursday starting March 25th, okay? But registration just opened the other day, and you can register at the link below. So guess what? There's another cool thing that I'm practicing for. And it's the new GRA Rock Retreat 48-hour songwriting challenge. This is a new virtual rock retreat for ages 18 and up. And the dates are February 27th and 28th. This weekend-long virtual program combines GRA's award-winning special blend of music, self-care workshops, instrument instruction, social justice caucuses, and a little happy hour karaoke each day. Very fun. All for the goal of inspiring new folks to collaborate and create on original songs based on our first theme for 2021, which is Practice Makes Progress. GRA is enlisting the help of students from the Austin School of Film to make music videos for the original songs written during the rock retreats, and they will be premiered at our very own drive-in screening. I'm so excited to go to that and watch all the cool music videos and listen to all the cool songs that you folks make. Now, if you want to do this, you can. Just go to the link below to register. Okay, I've got some more practicing to do. I'll see you later. Bye.
I love playing music with my friends. I love playing music with my friends.
So my first guest is an extremely achieved musician who has shared the stage with legendary musicians such as David J. of Bauhaus and Austin's very own Chris McKay, Rona Rougeheart. She was born in New York, the youngest daughter of a Taiwanese mother and Irish father. She grew up as a military child living all over the US and Okinawa, Japan. Her father was a musician who taught her how to play keys and guitar, and it wasn't until later she decided to take up drums on her own, playing drums for multiple bands in Austin and eventually earning endorsements from Gretsch Drums in Gibraltar hardware. Gibraltar, thank you very much. She has been continuing her work with her band SINE and has become producer of the television series Villains Wear Black Presents. She is currently writing new music and working on art and focusing on future collaborations. Please welcome Rona Rougeheart.
Hi.
I just wanted to start with, today is the Lunar New Year, and you know, growing up, I had a ton of traditions that I celebrated with my family. Are there any traditions that you celebrated and still celebrate today?
Well, I think for us, mostly it's just about being with family. And of course, you know, the red envelopes. Come on, the red envelopes, everyone knows. I probably have a ton of those just around the house because my mom gives them to us all the time. So that was kind of a tradition for sure. And then the decor, you know, being red and gold. And my mom liked to have moon cakes. Do you guys like moon cakes?
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm one of those weirdos that doesn't like moon cake. And my mom would always be like, why don't you want to eat it? I'm like, because I don't like it. It's dry. I don't know. Maybe that's my Irish side talking. I don't know. But that was really the tradition we had, was just, you know, being with family, eating good food, and just celebrating the turnover of another year.
Yeah, I mean, who could forget the Lisi, as we call it in Vietnamese? Yeah, so about a year ago, I got into a lift, and there was a woman who was Vietnamese who gave me a red envelope at the very end of our trip. And throughout our trip, she was telling me about some really, really serious things that had happened to her family right before coming to the United States. And because of that experience, I still carry that $5 bill that she gave me in my pocket pretty much all the time.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Yeah, but you know, it's traditions like that that I love, and I wish I was more rooted in the culture that I grew up in. But of course, you know, we're all working on that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You know, having an Irish father, we were Americanized. You know, he was in the military, so my mom kind of put the traditions in where we could. You know, but she tried to teach us how to speak Mandarin, and it's because we were in American schools. We just didn't catch on. It was really difficult. But you know, I think about stuff like that too. Learning more and getting more involved with the culture.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think I'll take a minute to introduce my next guest, who is an Austin Filipino American animator, artist, and music maker, originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico. She plays in a local cartoon ghost band, Stretch Panic, and makes stop motion music videos in her spare time. An avid creator, she aspires to share a message of empathy, queerness, humor, inclusivity, and empowerment in all of her work. In case you were wondering, rainbows are her spirit animal. In another life, she would have been a paranormal investigator or a medium. So she really likes ghosts. And I'll let her explain herself. This is MJ Haha.
Hello, that's me. How's it going?
Hi.
So tell us about some of the traditions that you grew up with.
So I'm Filipino American. I'm half white and then half Filipino. And I think traditions, we have like a lot of festivals in the Philippines. We have a lot of dances. There's a lot of indigenous traditional culture that I've started learning about. Of course, just like just like Rona, I grew up very Americanized and really feeling very disconnected from that culture. I did get to go back several times in my lifetime, and one of my favorite traditions from the Philippines that I learned is like we like really honored our elders, and like at sunset we would go around, and this happens on auspicious days like the New Year holiday, where you go around and you pick up someone's hand and you say bless, and you like put their hand. I don't know if there's,
That's cool.
if there's
I've never
other
heard of that.
Southeast Asian cultures. Yeah, we have like a very good honor. We honor our elders, and it's a very
What?
food-based culture too. There's a lot of like we eat a lot of food. That's how we like to celebrate and hang out.
Cool. Well, on to the next guest and introduction. I'm delighted to introduce my good friend and multi-talented creative, Casie Luong. She is a Vietnamese American musician, music educator, actress, and writer in Austin, Texas. There's nothing that she can't do. From performing and self-producing to collaborating with other artists, her melodies and strong sense of storytelling engages her listeners, creating honest, shared human experiences. Her latest single, Easy Lately, was recently featured in Austin's KUTX Song of the Day, and she is set to release new music spring and summer of this year. As a music educator, Casie serves as operations director and music instructor at Mother Falcon Music Lab, an organization that provides students with opportunities to create music in a collaborative and multimedia setting, similar to GRA. And she's also had the opportunity to work with GRA in the past as a piano coach and is a wonderful part of our community. As a side hustle, Casie and I serve as co-founders of Hyperlocal Austin, and she's currently working on a memoir about her family, covering topics on immigrant families and intergenerational differences. So please help me welcome Casie.
Hi, Casey.
So Casie, you and I are both Vietnamese American, and I know that we've talked at great length privately about the similarities of our upbringing. Tell us about some of the traditions that Vietnamese Americans celebrate for the Lunar New Year.
These are Lisi, which is what Natalie mentioned, and they're, can you see? Yeah, there we go. So they're like the little red envelopes, and when you're a kid, this is your time to bank because all the elders will give you these beautiful red envelopes, and you're like, yes, I can't wait. I can buy candy. I don't know, whatever you buy with this money. So that was something I always looked forward to growing up. And I remember just like we would go to festivals and just eat a lot of food. And my favorite are just these big trays of dried candies, like dried ginger candy and like peanut sesame candies. And I actually brought one recently too. I was like, I gotta show this. It's like a dried coconut candy.
Oh, cool.
These are my favorite, and they're really yummy. Yeah, I just liked all the dried candy and the food and all the stir fry, and it was just a lot of food. Kind of just like MJ said, it's just like food and people.
Yes. All right. And I have one last guest that I want to introduce into this conversation. It's Melinda Chow. Melinda has been an Austinite since 2006. She's a Chinese American queer co-mom to 2 rescued Chihuahua mixes. Melinda was a former board member of GRA and has always been a proud supporter. She has been active in nonprofit communities in various cities over the last 2 decades, and she loves music, food, social justice, nature, cartoons, and nerdiness, but not necessarily in that order. Welcome, Melinda.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I'm honored to be here with all of you.
Tell us about some of the traditions that you grew up with.
Totally. I will do that. But before I get into that, I just want to make an acknowledgement that although our discussion today is about Asian American history, that it's also Black History Month and Black Lives Matter. And I am thankful for the leadership of Black people in the social justice movement and for the hard work of Black people have done to help us achieve collective and intersectional liberation for all of us. And it's because of this work and leadership of Black people and of others, including Asian Americans, that it's even possible for us to be able to gather here today and to discuss Asian American identity in a broadcasted forum. So just a little preamble there.
Yeah,
thank you for saying that.
Yes,
thank you. Wonderful. That was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so New Year's. So, you know, mostly like a lot of food, so much food. Right. Like it's kind of like growing up, I felt like it was like Chinese Christmas, New Year's, and also everybody's birthday, like all at one time. And so I'm with family, like all my aunties and uncles and all of my cousins, and it's a pretty big gaggle of people, and it's just loud. And so in terms of food, there's a lot of meat. There's like fish and chicken and pork, you know, like when my non-Asian friends come to visit, like, oh my God, you guys eat so much, right? And then like there's always noodles and there's always dumplings, which are also like birthday lucky foods, right? And so sometimes I feel like I'm not sure which ones are the traditional New Year's food because we have those celebratory foods kind of every time we get together. And I'm not sure if we have them because it's New Year's or because, you know, we just like a lot of food and we have all these things together. I remember my mom making sure that the house was clean before, you know, even New Year's Eve, to like, you sweep out all the bad luck and then you can't clean it all like during the New Year's celebration time because you're like sweeping out all the good luck. So there's like little things like that. I grew up in Mississippi, which is a whole other bag of stuff, right? That we shouldn't get into today. But like my family all lives in Houston now, and so in the bigger cities, there is the benefit of festivals and stuff like that, and so I've been able to go and enjoy some Lunar New Year festivals in other places. And so when there's not a pandemic and we're able to get together with family, that we do some of that stuff too.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I completely forgot about sweeping out the bad luck. That was totally a thing in my family as well. My mom's side of the family was Catholic. My dad's side was Buddhist. They're divorced, you know. But I got to spend Lunar New Year 2 different types of ways. When I was with my dad, you know, we would have a small dinner because it's, you know, he didn't have a lot of family in the United States. So it would just be me, sometimes my sister, because she's 10 years older than me, and our dad, and then his wife. And then we would make a space at the table for my deceased grandmother, who, you know, passed many, many years ago. And we'd serve her favorite foods for the Lunar New Year. So that was just something that we did in my family. And that was really special. And sort of like, honoring the dead sort of thing, and just making sure that they're still a part of our lives, even though they've passed. So that's what that reminds me of.
I love that. I love that.
Cool. Yeah.
But yeah, today I think the conversation really lies around the topic of otherness. I think we've all sort of felt that in different ways. And what was it like growing up between two worlds and finding and defining your identity between, your Eastern heritage and then the Western values and cultures of America?
The Philippines was actually colonized by the United States, first by Spain and then the United States. So there's a tradition of very colonized thinking. A lot of the ideas that right, we have cultural heritage that we put in a backpack and we bring over with us. And then, my mom would have brought her Filipino heritage with her and unpacked Filipino ideas. But that's not exactly what happened. My mom was really anxious herself to get away from the Philippines and assimilate as quickly as possible into the United States. So one of the things that I didn't get to experience was my own mother tongue. Tagalog is the national language. Cebuano was my mother's language. So I don't know how many of you got to learn the language. But the language to me was a way of, that would have been really great because I'd be able to talk to my grandmother, And so I didn't really have a lot of option growing up than to try to be as American, be as white as possible. I felt like my options were try to be white and then actually trying to integrate and find a place among people who were well, you're not quite white, but you're not quite a person of color. It really put me in a position. I felt like I grew up mostly invisible. It was very easy to just kind of disguise myself under general Asianness and also kind of be white passing, but also not quite completely accepted. It was still hard. It was a lot of walking through a space where you're kind of vaguely exotic,
Right.
And, that kind of being a token cool thing.
Well, for me, a lot of what MJ said about integrating and having that kind of we're half,
Yeah.
So it's I'm half Irish, I'm half Taiwanese. And my dad was in the military, so obviously we moved around a lot and I learned how to be adaptable. But I too, just like MJ, I feel like I kind of was always under the radar. We would go to our Chinese Catholic church and it would be all in Mandarin. And we would me and my English speaking sisters would sit there and just read the English book while they spoke Chinese or Mandarin. And all the kids there, they were all prodigies, all played violin, played piano. They were all doctors. They were all on their way, And I used to joke with my mom and I'd be like, we're your dumb Asian kids. We were part of the culture. We integrated with our family and the community, great, but we couldn't speak the language. Mm-hmm. When we went back to Taipei, going out back in the day when we were kids, they didn't speak as much English. Now they do. We went a couple years ago and it was no problem. But when we were children, we'd be in the store and they'd approach us and speak Mandarin and we would look at them and go, and then after that, they wouldn't talk to us anymore because they're like, ew, you don't speak the language. Okay, see you.
Right.
It's the same. It's the first question I always got when I went to the Philippines was oh, do you speak? And as soon as I said, no, I can't speak, it's I'm othered by my Filipino community and I am othered by the white community. So right. It's yeah. There's no, we're wonderfully non-threatening, apparently.
Yes. Yes. And I right. I feel that has been my experience as well. And I think even to this day, it kind of is that way, where I kind of am in this weird no man's land. I would say it hasn't been until recently when all of the civil rights, issues started coming up to where everyone all of a sudden went, hey, I'm Asian, or hey, I'm whatever, but I'm serious. We weren't thinking about those things. And this is why I feel like we're all together now, because now there is an awareness of who we are, who what our makeup is.
Sure.
And now we all want to touch that part of us again and regroup,
Yeah. I really liked what MJ was saying about the idea of like countries being colonized by other countries. So I'm from Vietnam. I present as second generation Vietnamese American. And so the French colonized us, the Japanese colonized us, the US did. And so my parents are children of, they were born in during the Vietnam War. So my mom wanted absolutely nothing to do with Vietnam and wanted to be as American and white as possible. And so that definitely got projected on me. And so growing up, it was all about assimilating, right? Because you think immigrants, they like come to this foreign country, all they want to do is blend and just like kind of bow out. So mom really wanted me to have good English with no accent to show that I am like Americanized. But when I'm with Vietnamese family, like with my aunts and uncles, they want to make sure I have good English. I mean, good Vietnamese, right? To make sure I'm legit. So it's like they were teaching me code switching before it became an actual term, right? They were teaching like, hey, this is where you can be Vietnamese. This is where you can be American. And so having these fragmented parts of you, I think has been really an interesting thing that like I've just sort of wrestled with, like, well, what am I? I think all of us sort of like touch on that in a way that I've heard from you guys speaking. But yeah, so that was like a really interesting thing I've thought about. Also, yeah, growing up, I was really nervous to bring up anything about my family or like the foods we eat or what we do. Because I'm like, my friends, most of them were white because I grew up in like a teeny town. And so I'm like, they're not going to get it and they're going to think I'm weird. So I'm just not going to talk about it. And also I thought about how interesting that they never asked, right? And so it's like, there's a sense of like, there's not a curiosity to learn about other people's experiences. And so that's like been an interesting thing that like I've sort of wrestled with as well.
It's kind of complicated, right? I mean, there's entire books, movies, and studies and stuff done about this, but there's always going to be more to say. I think like if I'm reflecting on my personal experiences, there's stages. When I was a little kid, say like under 10, something about being a little kid just gives you the confidence to not care, I think. And so I feel like I was sort of code switching as like a little kid and just adapting to what was going on. But as you get older, when you're, I'd say right around 10 years old and your parents were like, oh, you're getting older now. This is what a girl is supposed to be like. This is what a Chinese girl is supposed to be like. And this is what you're supposed to do out in society. And whether you're with Americans or with Chinese people. And then that's when I began to get self-conscious and really think about things. And, starting getting I think probably a lot nerdier than I was, or just realizing that I was a big nerd.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
But like y'all mentioned the language thing. So with my parents, there were folks that I grew up around where the parents were rejecting of the language, and they're like, oh, you're in America now. The whole point is to speak English and to be as American as possible. And I think my parents were a little bit of an exception to that. They're like, well, we want you to fit into American society, but we also want you to be able to talk to us when we speak in Chinese and be able to talk to your relatives when they speak in Chinese. So they kind of made it a point to not let me like totally forget it, I guess.
I really like that we get to speak and talk about our experiences. I mean, every one of you have had something unique that I didn't know about, and then also that I relate to. So it's really wonderful to hear your stories.
How do you feel in regards to Asian representation in the media? Like, do you think that anything's missing from these portrayals? Do you think they're accurate? Do you think they're inaccurate?
In general, I just feel like there's just not enough. it's getting better than it was before, but there is enough representations of white people in media that there's like the broad human experience reflected there, right? But there's not that for Asian Americans. There's like just enough for me to be critical of. Like, for example, I appreciate Crazy Rich Asians a lot. Like, I appreciate that it was a movie made entirely with Asians, and that they were in lead roles and the stories were about Asians. However, I don't think it's that good of a movie.
It was the most generic rom-com. It was like it was paint by the numbers rom-com movie.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna watch it because Aquafina's in it.
Yeah.
She was the movie. She saved it.
She did. No kidding. She was great.
But
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, sort of in general, how I feel about media representation. It's like, it's definitely getting better, but there's just not enough of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like in the media, I guess in the past, it's like the Asian person's always like the silly one, the funny one, or the one that can't pronounce things properly. And
The restaurant
you know,
owner.
I agree with what Melinda was talking about in the sense of like, there's just enough to be critical of Asian media representation. And it's so interesting too, with just so many Asian cultures. It's just, there's such an array of experiences that, you know, one experience will never touch on all. And clearly Crazy Rich Asians, I mean, just how much money they have and like what bling on Netflix. I mean, you're like, okay, where are the regular folk? Okay. Like,
Where
and
are
not
my people?
the typecast ones, right? The quirky Asian, the cold-hearted one, the villain Asian.
I feel like what we're specifically talking about is media representations of Asian Americans for Americans, because there's also an amazing foreign film market, and every country actually has a beautiful representation of movies made. It's just we never see them. There's not an interest here to import that culture enough. So I'd love to see more interest of just like foreign films of Asians telling their own story in their own language with their own people. That's what's, to me, really, really, really awesome.
They speak like so many different languages in India too, and their film industry and their music industry are just so intertwined. So those are just cultures that are just left out of the mainstream, like American media. So I totally agree with all of you. We definitely should make more space for Asian American representation. But I just wanted to thank you one more time and say Happy Lunar New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
To close it out, I just wanted to go, have quick little tidbits about what you guys are doing moving forward. So we'll go with Melinda first this time.
It's Lunar New Year. I'm going to be making some dumplings.
Yes.
And continuing to perfect my dumpling recipe. And it's probably the most exciting thing that's relevant to share.
I'm there with you with the dumplings, for sure. We'll move on to Casie.
Yeah, I second the dumplings. I have some EPs that I'm putting out called Freed, and this month and next month it's like a 2-part EP, and super excited about that. I self-produced them. I'm really proud of them. They're small, but from the heart. And then currently working on a memoir about my family, so that's been a really cool endeavor. And I'm actually working on a project with a nonprofit up in Oregon of how to create community amongst Asian Americans in media and film, and how to have talks, how to create more access to resources, information to help us at the systemic level before we even reach up to the industry. Like, how can we start this conversation? So that's like a passion project of mine I'm working on. So thanks for y'all's input on that. That was like really, really cool. So yeah, those are my projects. And thank you again. Y'all rocked.
Thank you, Casie. All right. And MJ, I think you just came out with a release, or a single or something?
Yeah. It's my band Stretch Panic, which is all about haunted stuff. We're coming out with an album on February 19th called Glitter and Gore. That is 13 haunted tracks that we wrote a while ago and recorded a while ago, and then it was COVID, and then now we're finally getting it out. Yay! But our song, our ghostly love song, just came out yesterday. That's about a ghost who falls in love with a living boy. It's a genderless ghost. You can use whatever gender you want, and they talk to each other with a Ouija board, one letter at a time. It's really cute. So I'm very excited that's coming out. I'm just so excited I got to be hanging out with such badass women. It was really inspirational. All of you are so cool. So that I'm just really glad. I feel really grateful I got to be included and got to participate in discussion. And we're creating culture in real time. So we get to decide what the culture is. And I think that's what's exciting about being Asian American.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right. And then last but not least, Rona.
I mean, since the whole COVID thing hit, I mean, like MJ was saying, we can't really play music anymore live. So it's kind of like reinvent and recreate or, get depressed. 2019 was awesome. It was amazing. It was a great year for my band. And then when COVID hit and South by Southwest got canceled, I was like, oh man, this is like taking my momentum down. And it was very depressing. So the thing that I felt most compelled to do was be a television producer. I know that sounds really weird, but I noticed that a lot of my friends who have bands and music, they just had a hard time with being shut down and not being able to play. So I joined the producer program here in Austin and applied for a series, which at the time I wasn't expecting to be accepted, but I did. It's really, I just wanted to bring everybody together. I wanted to give everyone an outlet, a vehicle to be seen, heard, and get their art out there. And so I just took video content, and I'm talking like artists, like MJ, you say you do stop motion. I would love to show some of your stuff. Casie,
Thanks.
I'll show some of your stuff. I mean, this is an open invite, because really what I want is I just want people to be seen and heard, because I think that the whole COVID thing has just really shut us all down so hardcore. And, the only way that I could battle that is just through learning something new and trying to help others, So along with that, and writing SINE's second album, Curse and I are now raising a boxer rescue dog. Yes. Her name is, I have to tell you her name because we're musical. Her name is Loretta Ziggy Zeppelin.
That's amazing.
I had a pig once, and when I was in 4-H, and I named her Nirvana Van Halen.
Oh, that's so great.
She was 800 pounds.
That is the cutest ever.
My dog's name is Blakey, after the jazz drummer Art Blakey.
Oh, cool. My first boxer's name was Miles, after Miles Davis.
Well, thank you guys again for being here. I hope that wherever you are, you're celebrating with joy, and that your year is filled with happiness, wealth, and good luck.
And now, a thrilling performance by the Texas Dragon Lion dance team.
2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10、11、12、預備！
How you doing? You just caught me on my way out the door. You see, I just started volunteering with GRA's Operation Lunchbox Initiative, and I'm gonna deliver all these meals to some families in Austin. Have you heard about this? Since June 2020, Girls Rock Austin created the Operation Lunchbox Initiative, partnering with Keep Austin Together to provide folks in our community affected by the pandemic with nutritious prepared meals that can easily be frozen or microwaved. Since June, GRA has delivered thousands of meals to Austin artists, musicians, and their families. For more information on how to receive meals or sign up to be one of our awesome weekday delivery drivers, visit the link below. Thanks. See you soon.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to the GRA Rock-A-RAMA game show. This evening, we will be answering questions about women in music, TV, and movies, with some special rounds highlighting Asian American and African American artists in observation of the Lunar New Year and Black History Month. Here's how to play. We ask a trivia question regarding a specific piece of work, example, song title, TV show, movie title, or an artist, along with an emoji hint, and you guess the answer. Each of you will make your own sound and shout a saying to show that you are ready to answer. So be thinking of your sounds now. So here's how the game show is broken down. We have 3 rounds. Round 1, 3 questions, 1 point each. Round 2, 3 questions, 1 point each. Round 3, 3 questions, 2 points each. If needed, there's going to be a tiebreaker. It's 1 question and winner takes all. Our first prize is a Lunar New Year treat box with a mug containing a $100 gift card from 85 degrees Celsius Bakery. Next up, we have a very large gift basket full of festive Lunar New Year treats. Wow. Amazing. Those colors are lovely. Our next prize is a fun merch package from Stretch Panic, local Austin super fun pop art rock band. Wee-hee. All right. And now I'd like to introduce our lovely contestants. Contestant number 1, David Dorr. David has PhD in early American history from the University of Kansas, a retired professor of history at Angelo State University. David's been married to his wife, Carol, a wonderful singer and pianist, might I add, for 45 years. He also plays guitar, piano, and takes instrument and songwriting courses with yours truly, and is my star elderly music student and big supporter of Girls Rock Austin. He told me to put some of that in there. So, fun fact about David, most kids think he's Santa Claus. What's your sound, David? Welcome to the show. Yeah, I love it. Perfect. Can I hear it one more time? All right. Contestant number 2, Summer Wood. As an independent graphic designer, musician, novice gardener, and juggler with a knack for organizing other folks' creative visions, Summer's heart is all about the underdogs, the artists, the musicians, and all those who work to make this earth a more beautiful and sustainable place to call home. She has toured nationally with queer indie electronic band Tomboy and also lends her talents to local band Mexica and cover band El Tigre with other girls rock volunteers. Fun fact, Summer was named by her grandmother after the solstice. What is your sound, Summer? Welcome to the show. Cool. I like your noisemaker.
Thank you.
Yes. Welcome to the show. Okay, contestant number 3, Tremaine Bradley. Tremaine Bradley is a 30-year-old comic from Austin, Texas. Bradley questions his sexuality in comedic fashion while carving his brand of left-turn comedy that creates twists and turns that the crowd would never expect. Fun fact, every school that Bradley applied to in high school, he received scholarships to go, but instead he didn't take them. He wanted to record a mixtape.
That is factual.
Welcome.
That definitely happened.
Welcome to the show, Tremaine. What is your sound?
First of all, I just want to apologize because there was a whole bunch of words to say that I don't make money telling jokes, but my sound is boo! That's what I'm gonna do. That's my sound for today.
That's my favorite. All right. Okay, friends, are we ready to play the show?
Yes.
Woo! Round 1. This artist is Lady Gaga, and this is the name of one of her songs. Who's got the answer? Summer, is that you?
Yep.
You're right.
Poker Face.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Question. Here, I'm going to wait for Summer. Question number 2. Song title is what we're looking for here. The song is made by Christina Aguilera. Go. David.
Genie in a bottle.
Yeah, you got it. Now, question number 3. All right, this song is by Alicia Keys. Summer.
No one.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right.
Good for you.
Good for you, Summer. Summer takes this round. Woo!
I haven't heard an album of hers since her first one. Good for you. Good for you, Summer.
All right. Now moving on to round 2. Okay. So this former hip hop artist Aquafina broke out in her acting career on which adaptation of Kevin Kwan's bestseller and set in a high society in Singapore? Does anyone know the answer to this?
Nope, I haven't made it on that one on Netflix for that one yet, so y'all can have that one.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Okay. That's on HBO.
I was close.
Max, too.
I think it's on Hulu. So no one got a point for that one. That's okay. That's okay. There's other questions. Y'all will get them. Okay. So the next question. Lucy Liu played Oranishi, an organized crime leader in Tokyo, where she led the Crazy 88 and Gogo Yubari. What movie is this? Okay, Tremaine.
Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, Tremaine. Got that point. Okay. So the next question. Sandra Oh played Eve Pilastri in this spy thriller series. Does anyone know the answer to
Killing
this?
Eve.
Is that Summer?
Yeah, Killing Eve.
Yeah, Killing Eve. That's right. Very good. All right, Summer.
Good emoji.
Okay. Next. Round 3. Okay. Here we go. Speaking of lunar energies, which Ella Fitzgerald jazz standard was claimed to be originally written by her father? Here's your emoji clue. David.
Blue Moon.
Yeah, that's right. David got a point. David got a point. All right. Coming up. We're looking for a song title here by Donna Summer. Here's your emoji clue. Summer,
Love you, babe.
Love to love you, babe. That's right.
Okay, so
Okay.
Last Dance wouldn't have worked for that one. Okay, cool.
Okay, next up. This is just a song title by Erykah Badu. That's what we're looking for. Here's your emoji. Tremaine.
Bag lady, you gon' hurt. Okay, yeah, I'm done.
That was great.
Yeah.
I was gonna sing it if you weren't gonna sing it.
Yeah, you're gonna drag all those bags like that. That's the song. You can look it up. Just Google.
One day. Okay, so let's see. We have Summer that's in the lead. So I'm going to say that Summer is going to be our first prize winner for the show. So round of applause for Summer. Now Tremaine and David tied. So we're going to do a tiebreaker. Okay, so this tiebreaker is between David and Tremaine.
Battle of the Beards. Let's go, David.
Battle of the Beards. There you go.
Battle of the Beards. Exactly. Okay, ready? So we're looking for a song title by Cyndi Lauper. David.
Time after time.
Time after
Nice,
time. It's true. It's true.
80s. Good one, David. Good job.
Right.
80s.
Awesome.
I got lucky on that deal.
You did great. So, all right, here are our prize announcements to our contestants in the order in which they had a bunch of points and they ordered questions correctly. Okay, so first place goes to Summer. Summer, you are getting the Lunar New Year tree box with a mug containing a $100 gift card to 85 degrees Celsius and bakery. Oh my gosh! And David coming in second place, receiving a gift basket filled with festive Lunar New Year treats. And Tremaine, you still get some cool stuff. You're going to get some merch from Stretch Panic. They're a really great band and their merch is really cute.
Hey, thank you. I didn't come up with a speech, but I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Okay, that's all, folks. Stick around for the rest of the show. Yeehaw!
Yay.
Woo! Yeah!
Good job, everyone.
Yay.
Congratulations. You're all winners.
And now, GRA ROCK-A-RAMA presents Stretch Panic! Woo!
Okay, this next one is a charming one. Filipino descent, and they have this demoness. So let's do that. Doesn't come, what could it mean? Staring up through my guts and slowly crushed. Visions of swallow.
now, GRA ROCK-A-RAMA presents SINE.
This is one of our latest singles. It's called Control. Thank you. I thought that was very spectacular. Actually, I really love that song. It was produced by, actually, it was produced by myself and Chris Mackey, and it was mixed by Sean Bevan. So that's a really awesome one for us.
Well, folks, that's our show. Thanks so much for tuning in.
And don't forget to tune in next month for the 4th episode of the GRA ROCK-A-RAMA, coming at you from the annual Girls Rock Austin South by Virtual Day Party. I know, I'm excited about that. But even before that, we've got the GRA Rock Retreat 48-hour song challenge. So get online, register right now, reserve your spot.
We'd like to give a special thanks to our partners, supporters, volunteers, and campers for keeping us going. Here at GRA, we love sharing the mission of empowering young women, trans, and gender-expansive folks in our community by facilitating music, social justice, and service programs.
Don't forget to do something good for the community yourself. Sign up to be one of GRA's awesome Operation Lunchbox drivers and deliver nutritious meals and good vibes to nourish the hearts of Austin artists, musicians, and their families affected by COVID-19. And speaking of our Operation Lunchbox initiative, special shout out to Keep Austin Together for providing all the food for GRA's Operation Lunchbox initiative. Y'all rock.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And I want to give a special shout out to our game show contestants, Tremaine Bradley, David Doerr, Summer Wood, along with the game show co-writer, Chris Manuel.
We'd like to thank musical guests Stretch Panic and SINE, and the Texas Dragon Lion Dance Team, TDDT, for their performances. So magical.
As well as discussion panel guests Melinda Chow, MJ Haha, Rona Rougeheart, and Casie Luong. Thanks so much.
And a special thank you to Halo Parr of Shonut Design for her awesome metal ox girl design, and Jenny O'Brien of Mod Panic, the makers of GRA's awesome merchandise.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year all. Good night. Girls rock a rama.